Okay, I'm going to call the meeting of Kern County LAFCo to order. Have roll call, please.
Commissioner Fowler,
Present.
Commissioner McKibben,
Present.
Commissioner Scrivener,
Here.
Commissioner Rivera,
Here.
Commissioner McLaughlin,
Here.
Commissioner Mello,
Here.
Commissioner Wegman,
Here.
Commissioner Couch,
Present.
Commissioner Garula,
Present.
Okay, time for Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone that can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which represents one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the next order be approval of minutes of January 20th, 2016. Any corrections or changes?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Okay, motion passed. Move down to item 4, public hearings. Kern County LAFCo 2016-2017 proposed budget. Rebecca?
Thank you. In your packet, you have a memo along with the proposed preliminary budget. LAFCo is required by law to adopt a preliminary budget prior to considering their final budget, which will come to you next month if this is adopted. This memo outlines our revenue sources and our expenditures. I'd like to just note a couple of items. One is that the section on salaries and benefits has increased by quite a bit, and that's because the commission back in September approved an analyst position. That position hasn't been filled yet, however, we should budget for it. The other item I'd like to point out is that there's an increase in the state retirement, and that's due to the additional staff position, as well as the percentage that goes to PERS. You'll see that there's also the unfunded liability item, and that is required each year now by PERS until we pay it off. The other couple of items is that our office expenses have dropped back down because we purchased our copy machine, and so we no longer need that same amount in that line item. The professional and specialized services has decreased by $15,000, and this is just because I normally budget $15,000 to $20,000 for any special studies that might be needed, and I hope that when we get an analyst, that analyst can do any of those studies, so we haven't budgeted for those. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the budget.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Okay, seeing, so you open this for the public too? Do I? Okay, anyone from the public like to comment on our budget, proposed budget? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
A motion is second, approve, all in favor?
Cast your vote.
Oh, cast your votes.
motion passed, all ayes.
Thank you. We'll move down to item 5, public project review. City of Bakersfield, 1687, annexation number 660, Heath Road number 1, county service area number 71, detachment, reorganization. Rebecca?
Thank you. This proposal is for the annexation of approximately 10 acres north of Stockdale Highway, west of Heath Road. It's adjacent to the city, it's across the street there from the city, and it's also adjacent to existing county development. The city has pre-zoned the area commercial, and it doesn't convert any existing agricultural land. The city has prepared a negative declaration for the project, and it is appropriate for this project. Since the city will be providing the sewer services, the county has asked that this area be detached from CSA number 71, and the most efficient way to do that is with a reorganization. So I'm asking you to approve this annexation, 660 Heath number 1, to the city of Bakersfield, and also detach it from CSA 71, and that's detachment E. The proposal has 100% landowner consent, and the city, who's the applicant, has requested that notice hearing and protest hearing be waived as allowed by law. So I recommend that the commission approve the annexation and the detachment, waiving notice and hearing as requested, and that you also approve a notice of exemption for the detachment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Any commissioners have any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, would this be considered a peninsula?
Although it does kind of stick out, I don't believe it's considered a peninsula. I think if it were a different shape, it might be, and if it weren't adjacent to existing development, then it would be more of an issue.
Is the development that we see on the screen to the right, is that county development?
It is county.
Microphone.
I just wondered if the area shown on the map to the right, which would be, I guess, to the east, is county development, and
It is county, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just interested in the
The
definition,
configuration?
and I know there's a lot of fuzzy math, so to speak, in our Cortese-Knox law.
Yep, for the configuration of this. I understand because it's not surrounded anywhere else, it's just attached here. I do expect that there's going to be some more annexations along this way. That I don't have any in the office yet.
Okay.
But there isn't, peninsulas are discouraged, but there isn't anything in the law that prohibits them, and we don't have to make a finding for them.
Okay.
We could say that this is an irregular boundary, but we're not required to make a finding for it.
I see.
So
Thank you.
We could acknowledge, though, that it is an irregular boundary.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, anyone in the public like to speak on this item? Entertain a motion.
Move the staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion is second. Cast your ballots.
All ayes, motion passed. Okay, you got her, Kathy? Okay, move down to commission items. Any commissioners have anything they would like to bring to the board? Okay. Seeing none from the commission, I'll go back to public comments. Anybody from the public like to make a comment on anything that's not on the agenda?
There's a comment.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll go down to commissioner items. We went through that already, but anyway, I'd like to welcome Gary McKibben as Special District Representative, and glad to have him aboard. And then one other item I have is Ginger. Would you stand up, please? It's a plaque for Ginger for her time as chairman of the board.
No speech?
Not this time.
Okay, now go down to general business. A, approval of claims list number 1602.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, motions and second. Vote, please.
All ayes, motion passed.
Okay, thank you. Move down to item B, Greater Bakersfield Separation of Grade District Annexation 5 and 6.
Thank you. These two proposals have been brought to your attention on a few occasions. The Greater Bakersfield Separation of Grade District is looking at annexing approximately 7,600 parcels. And they're two separate areas. And because they have to notice all the landowners and registered voters within the area and within 300 feet of the area prior to hearing, they took some time to think about whether or not they wanted to continue with the proposal. So you have a local policy that says that an application has to come to the commission within a year of being submitted to LAFCo. And because it's taken some time to work through this process, they've come back to you for an extension a couple of different times. Now, they have decided that they want to move forward with the process, and since they're going to do that, they have to amend their sphere of influence, and they have to do a municipal services review. And that's going to take some time. Since this is a local policy and it's not state law, I'm asking that you waive this local policy for these two proposals. The reason for this policy was to make sure that any proposals that are in our office, that we were continuing to work on them and we weren't just letting them sit, and that the applicants were continuing to work on any issues that staff might have on the proposals. I know that they're working on this. We've been in contact, we've had meetings, we email, and so I have no doubt that they're working on this and that we're staying on top of it as well. So I'm asking that for these two proposals, that you waive your local policy requiring the one-year timeline. And I wanted to note also that the district is aware that when they take longer, we have to get new reports from the assessor and new reports from the surveyor, just in case there have been any changes. And they're aware that they're responsible for the costs of those reports as well as any noticing that's required. So I would recommend that you waive your local policy for these two proposals. Thank you.
Okay, any comments or questions of Rebecca? Okay, entertain a motion.
Move approval of staff's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, a motion and second. All in favor? Cast your vote.
All ayes, motion passed.
Thank you. Now, item C, we'll go into closed session on personnel matters and report back after we come back. Okay, we'll come back into regular session at this time, and I'll turn it over to our attorney, Mr. Schroeder.
Mr. Chairman, the discussion in closed session included no action. We were there discussing the pending resignation of our executive officer and the process we would use to replace her. But no action was taken.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Now down to item D, grant executive director the authority to go out for a firm with an amount not to exceed $5,000.
Thank you. The item to authorize me to hire a human resources firm for an amount not to exceed $5,000 is because I have submitted my letter of resignation. The commission will need the HR firm to advertise and to recruit for this position. So I ask that you authorize me to spend up to $5,000 to hire an HR firm. Thank you.
Okay, any comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So if we don't authorize it, you don't resign, is that? Motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, a motion second, cast your ballots.
Motion passed. All ayes.
Thank you. That ends our meeting, so I will adjourn the meeting at this time. Thank everybody for being here.